Got something a little bit different today. Got a customer that's just got his license but's had the bike sitting around for a little while. I'm guessing around a month from the stories I've got. That's not that irrelevant, but it just helps to know what the bike's been doing in the past. It's a cruiser, it's a Vstar 650 Lamb's bike, and has issues in running. Instantly guessed it was carburetor blockage or something like that. It's started up this morning, runs only on the front cylinder. It's not running on the back cylinder at all. Sinks of petrol. If it's not burning it, well, it's not doing it. So yeah, I thought we'd have a look at that and see what we can find. Okay, here it is. I've just taken the seat off, about to take the tank off, so I thought I'd stop and start including you. I like to include pretty much everything on the videos, even though they are long. YouTube doesn't like long videos. People don't seem to see them, but unfortunately I think that, you know, it's that bolt you don't know about, or that cable you don't know about, or something when you're trying to take these things apart that can really ruin your day if you break it or anything like that. So I just record long videos. A quick look around. It's alright. It's just been roadweed, so there's not too much of a drama. It's basic Lamb's bike, V-twin. The seat comes off, slots into here. Two little Allen keys on the back here, pops up like that. The tank I was just about to take off is a 12mm bolt here. The nacelle, the Speedo nacelle, comes off. 3 Allen keys, one here, 2 here, and you just got to try and get this cable out. So you've got to pop it up enough that you can get a hand or something in there. It does have a like a 17mm hex on it, but you can just get a pair of pliers and just sort of twist it off if it's too tight. 2 plugs. They obviously go through a hole in the tank, and the tank should come out. 1 more bolt on this side holds the choke and the tank itself. I just noticed that the choke itself is a little bit rusty, so that also houses the knurl nut. So if we back that off, we'd be able to get a bit of like white grease or something in there, just to keep that moving around. So we'll do that anyway. Yeah, we'll quickly take it off. I've ran it before, as I said, and found that it's only running on the front cylinder. How do I know that? I touched the exhausts. How else would you know that? No, you could feel that this pipe was warm, getting warm as it's starting up, and this is stone cold right all the way back. I've tested that we have spark at the lead. I just know that it's a carburetor problem just by experience. It feels like a block carburetor or something like that's going on. If I fail to find anything like that, what I'll do is I'll do a compression test and check those spark plugs, but I'm not going to spend the time and check plugs and compressions and all the rest of it. Julian simply says it runs perfectly and then starts to play up and then runs perfectly again. So the thing, now we'll lift this tank. One of the things I like to do every time I pull a tank off is check the drain rate. So we need to check the drain, that it's actually, the gravity is actually working properly. There's nothing blocked in the pickup, and it's, I'll just lift it up, just on the 2 rubbers at the front. and pop those cables through the hole. I'll just come over here. I'll check that it's gonna, yep, it's got plenty of fuel coming out of it at reserve, and I don't think there's a lot of fuel in it, and it doesn't seem to be, yeah, I think it's just below reserve, but it does come out when you lift it over, and I can see massive issues already. We'll just have a look at that. Okay, I've just taken you off. I've just released this tank, and have a look at that. Someone's put aftermarket air filters on. The front one is not even on, and the back one is upside down, blocking the hole for the carburetor. This one here I'd say is an oil breather, and there's oil everywhere, but while it's not running properly, you can't really tell anything of that. And that carburetor is completely wet. That one's dry. That one's the one that was working. This one's had a nice little suction on onto the top of the carburetor like that, stopping any air going through. This one over here, it's obviously been letting all the dirt and dust through. Yeah, I don't know. Don't actually think they fit properly, but we're going to have to try and figure out what's going on there, whether they got knocked off while I was putting on, whether they weren't tightened up, why. Anyway, what I might do now is just quickly run it on the fuel that's in the carburetors, and see what happens with the back cylinder now that it's actually got air, and decide on what to do from there. Anyway, let's see how it goes. It does have a fuel pump. It does have a filter, an inline filter. The fuel pump's just pumped up. It's inside there. And we'll just give it a quick run. Oh, it's actually running on 2 cylinders now. Yep, back cylinder's hot. Back pipe's hot, I can touch it. Runs nice and smooth. With the choking, it's running a little bit too slow. Chokes in now. It's amazing what happens if you can get some air. We might hook up an external fuel line to it, and then we'll let it run for a little bit. Just hooked up a external fuel line to it. Just sorting itself out. It just about ran out before keep it going. We just want to just idling a bit too slow. So I'll let it just warm up a little bit, and we'll see what's going on after that. I'll make sure this choke's actually working. Of course it did. Yep, it's working fine. just running the mixtures in to see if they've got control over them. Yep. Okay, it's actually running pretty well. I can hear it clearing up as it's just sitting there idling. It's cleaning out. There's a lot of oil smoke coming out of the rear cylinder, but I think it's more to do with that it hasn't probably run, or it's been sucking oil past the rings because it hasn't been able to get air than anything else. And you actually feel that the RPM just slightly lifting and lifting and lifting as it's clearing up. I have no need to pull these carburetors apart at this stage. So I think the next step is to clean these air filters, which haven't looked like they've been cleaned in a long, long time. We might degrease this area a little bit and see how it goes from there. I've just backed that idle down. It's getting a little bit too high now because it's spark plugs will be cleaning up, the valves will be cleaning up as it's sitting there idling. There's still a little bit of oil smoke coming out of that top cylinder, but until you actually get it on down the road and clean it out a couple of times, there's not a lot else you can do at this stage. So we'll get these completely blocked up, upside down air filters cleaned up. Obviously, yeah, was causing the drama when you cap off the carburetor and it can't get any air, and the front one's fine, it's just driving it. So yeah, we'll see how we go. Okay, I've got it to a good stage now. I've just cleaned up the 3 filters, just left them, let them dry, actually running quite well now. There's a tiny little bit of an air leak through an induction boot, but that will be something that the customer can sort out, get some parts for, and we can go from there. It's there sometimes, there not others. At this stage, you know, it's not going to affect the running that much. Probably when it gets a bit warmer, it's going to be a little bit worse, but at least we know about it. I'm going to put the tank back on now. Fitting these air cleaners back down is an absolute nightmare. All the plastic's deformed, and they've put the band in the middle of the thing, but the carburetor only comes up a little way. The band had to be right down the bottom for it to actually grip onto the aluminium for it to settle, and they're quite solid now. This one's just clipped in anyway, it's just an oil breather. The engine oil was too high. Very important to have that window, a gap in that window, must have it. That might have been slashing up too much oil. It might have been a little bit too high because it was sucking so much fuel because it wasn't able to get air, and now that fuel will evaporate through the breather. We'll see how that goes. Don't overfill them. Splashing up into the cylinder if it's too full just causes you that breathing problem. Also, the oil smoke coming from the rear cylinder has disappeared for the time being. I'd say that it definitely was having a drama with that carburetor, sucking it, probably washing out those rings and allowing the oil to come up through. High oil level as well just compounds the problem. But what we'll do is we'll get the tank back on. I've got to go and get some fuel, put some fuel in it, and we'll just go up the street and back, and he can probably have it back at this stage. Alright, we'll let you know how it goes. This thing's fine now, runs beautiful. I just pulled it a couple of times and no more smoke out of the rear cylinder. Just needed to clean up. Probably the oil level dropping was a help. Runs perfect. Pulls nice and cleanly. Yeah, give it back to him.